Andres Soklar, and I'm joined today by our buddy from Scotland, James Baird. How are you today?
I am good. A little bit, obviously, it was a shocking day, but we'll come to that in a second. But not bad.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the Euro started off really exciting with an exciting performance by Italy yesterday, which we spoke about with Sandro. So you can check that out as well. But we were given a harsh slap in the face, some reality today when during the Denmark versus Finland game, Christian Eriksen, the Inter Milan midfielder, collapsed. And everybody was, complete shock about what took place. Everybody, the crowds, the coaches, even the opposition players, the commentators, viewers, myself, James, because it seemed very out of the blue. There was no contact. Everybody was scared. The commentators had no idea what to say. And it looked as if, people were fearing the worst because he was down for maybe about 10 minutes, James, I think. And, thankfully, we got some reports afterwards, after that long scare. The game was postponed and then it was resumed, but we were told that he's in stable conditions and there were reports that he called. But, James, what was your reaction to this?
Well, I was shocked and horrified. I mean, it was a terrible thing to see. I was fighting back tears, I'm not going to lie. And it was terrible to see. And as the commentators and all these people, they were speechless. And I think I was. In my house, I was virtually staring at the screen for a good 10, 15 minutes just in disbelief. But thankfully, obviously, the medics and the doctors, you have to put your hat off to them because, this kind of thing does not happen often. And they really, I don't want to say they earned their money because they earned more than that. They should be given a special medal at this Euros for what they did because, from what I saw, they had to perform, cardiac massage and CPR maybe once, if not twice, maybe on the field, which means, things were really bad. You saw the faces of the players. So it was horror scenes. But thankfully we saw him up and about in a sense in a stretcher coming off the field. We heard, as you said, he spoke to his teammates and things. But it was terrible scenes. For me, I don't think the game should have played after that. I read a report from the Dr. Morten Bonsen from the Danish camp. He basically said that they did have to do cardiac massage. I also heard from the coach, and he had basically said that even his skipper and some of the players, he did bring off in the game because they just couldn't handle it. The emotional baggage that came with obviously what happened. And you can understand in that game took its toll, and that is why certain substitutions were made. He's not making an excuse because to me, the game should have been played probably tomorrow. But it happened, and as I say, it was a very terrifying day.
Yeah, it's a very eye-opening situation where we have elite athletes. He's only 29 years old, in peak form, playing for it. He had a great season with Inter Milan. Tottenham fans will know him. Ajax fans will know him. He's a great player. And, this shows you that even elite athletes, it can happen to anyone. You have to be really mindful of your health and also, very grateful for your health, because these things could happen like that. A lot of people were fearing for the worst. I even saw Craig Burley from ESPN and everybody else was paying attention to all the tweets. I've never seen so many people, scared at the same time with good reason. I had a difficult time looking at it because I had a situation similar. So it was very, very, very difficult. So, we'll speak a little bit more about that a little later on when we speak about that particular game. So, we're going to jump in, which normally I'd have an exciting tone, but as you can see, this is a very dire way to start off the show, but it's something we have to talk about. So, up first, today we had the games between Wales and Switzerland, which ended 1-1 with goals in the 49th minute from Briel Embol and in the 74th minute from Wales from Kiefer Moore. So, I thought Wales was going to win this game, James. There was 64% possession versus 35. And, before we get into the stats and all that, what was your initial thoughts on this game?
Well, ironically, I'm not usually that great at predictions, but I did predict a 1-1 draw. You can check that out on Facebook if you don't believe me.
Well done, James.
Before the game, so I was
screenshot.
Very happy with that. But it was a very interesting game. It didn't go at all what I thought. Embolo that scored for Switzerland was excellent. He's been in other tournaments. He didn't really show up in them, but he really showed up in this one. I thought Moore was excellent for Wales. The game started off very interestingly with that brilliant save from Jan Sommer, and it just went from there. But it was a really entertaining game, in my opinion.
Yep, I mean, all the focus is on guys like Gareth Bale and Shaqiri, but from what I saw, because I didn't see it directly, I had to go rewatch it really quick. Um, you know, Gareth Bale, what do you think about his performance?
I think he led as a skipper. I mean, he didn't maybe he played some lovely crossfield balls. I mean, to me, he was playing inside a lot of the first half of the game, and then they tried to switch him outside near the end of the game. So he was. I don't want to say he was ineffective because he's a skipper and he's obviously leading the team. But I think in general, Wales really worked together as a team. Everybody did their job, even down to. I mean, I thought Danny Ward was absolutely exceptional in goals. Had some great saves. I mean, one or two of them were pulled back for offside, but he didn't know that at the time. So he was probably my man of the match. And then you had guys like, I thought Aaron Ramsey did pretty well. I thought Ben Davies had a great game, and Moore took his goal group well. But the only thing I would say about Wales, the first half, I thought they sat in too much. I mean, they have a lot of pace there, and they tend to sit back. And I think Shaqiri caused a lot of problems for Switzerland. And I think when the coach took him off, that was the biggest problem. He should never have took Shaqiri off. When they took him off and they replaced him, they just did not have that impact, and that's what caused the problems. And I think a 1-1 result is a fair result at the end of the day.
Yes, because for those of you, we will put a screenshot of James so we could verify his stuff, because James knows what he's talking about, folks. That's why we have him here. So we're going to head over to the other game, James, which we'll come back to this game multiple times in this episode. So obviously, then the game that everybody's talking about is obviously the game Denmark versus Finland, which ended 1-0. A lot of people, in our Twitter poll, which I'll pull up while we're speaking, were thinking that the game should not be resumed after that whole thing with Eriksen. I think everybody unanimously agreed. So it came to a surprise to a lot of people that the game was, restarted. So the game eventually resumed, and we have our polls. Apparently, 65% of our voters, thought it was okay. But I got some messages from people from Denmark as well, some of my friends, and they were very unhappy with it. They thought it was distasteful, but we could talk about that another time. So the game was resumed, and there was a penalty kick miss from Emil Højbjerg in the 74th minute, if I'm not mistaken. And then eventually a goal in the 79th minute from Joel Pohjanpalo. So I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this correctly, James. James can tell me this because he spent some time there. So, international relations, folks. But, from what I saw, James, before we get into the details of the match, it looked kind of, I saw a team that looked affected, obviously, by what took place with Christian Eriksen. I was really surprised that they played. Kudos to the players for going out. But, I was, genuinely a bit disturbed that the game was resumed the way it did. But, let's get into the details. The game ended up 1-0. What are your thoughts on the game?
Well, I think the game started off well for Denmark. They controlled the game. They looked like, for example, this Danish team looks like a well-oiled unit. They look solid right through. I mean, probably maybe lacking, goals maybe up top. But generally, they look pretty creative as well. Obviously, then the big incident happened. And after that, the players, as I say, they looked shell-shocked. I thought we know, obviously, Casper Schmeichel, getting tongue-tied. We know how good a goalkeeper he is. And even the goal that he lost was just not like him. I know the skipper came off in the second half because the coach said he obviously wasn't up to it. But the players just, after, when they restarted, they just did not look the same. We saw tears in the warm-up. I mean, come on. So to me, to play the game tonight, I think was off. But at the end of the day, you have to give credit to Finland, because at the end of the day, you don't want people saying, Finland just won the game because of this. I mean, that will be said, and that's the sad thing I feel for this Finnish side. They looked good. They attacked well. I thought their goalkeeper was excellent. I thought Kamara from my team Rangers had a very good game. Obviously, it was a great goal by Pohjanpalo, and they got the result. But I mean, I think there's so much of the game that I can't remember because of obviously the big incident. I mean, what happened? That's the sad reality of the game. We will always remember it for that. And it does take away from obviously the result for Finland. So it's a difficult one to talk about, even because, as I say, all you can really think about in your mind is those players around Christian Eriksen, really. So, as I say, the Finnish supporters will be happy, but it puts Denmark in a bit of a predicament because they've obviously lost a star player, a creative player, and they're going to need points now, and they have to come up obviously against two other good teams in the group. So it's going to be very, very difficult for them.
Yeah, and despite Denmark having, according to the stats here, 69% possession, 6 shots on target, it shows you, how the game went. It was very much a game that was marred by what happened with Eriksen as well. It looked to me as if the mood of the players were completely changed, and I can't imagine myself playing in a game like this. So just to round things off, Denmark played with a 4-3-3, with Barcelona man, Brathwaite in there, and familiar faces like Delaney and so on. And then Finland played a formation that I like. It's one of my formations. I know a lot of people in the Caribbean not a big fan of, but I like it. They played according to this, 3 at the back, 2 wing backs, and it seems to be a formation of choice lately, which a couple of years ago a lot of people were not very popular with it. So we saw the approach with Finland. It's very hard to be tactically spot on because of the changes in the game. We have to add the emotional aspect and the psychological impact it had on the Danish players. So I can't say I'm making excuses, but I would be inhuman not to say that it affected those guys. And I heard that Eriksen gave them a call before they resumed. So maybe they'll get things together, and hopefully we'll get some more updates on Eriksen in addition to what we already gave. So let's hear from the former Rangers, Copenhagen, and Danish goalkeeper Jesper Christiansen about his thoughts on the game, all the way from Denmark. So let's take a listen, folks.
Hello, I'm Jesper Christiansen. I'm glad to be a part of the EXTV tonight. I'm here to talk about the Danish game against Finland. It's been a special, emotional night because of the accident with Christian Eriksen tonight. Happily, he's doing okay, and hopefully nothing major problem with him tonight. I think the Danish team showed in the first half a much better team. Player for player, they are a much better team. They controlled the game. Finland was happy by being low, defending low, maybe just waiting for Denmark to make mistakes. Second half is special because the accident with Eriksen, but I think that still Denmark in control. But again, Finland is standing low and waiting for the right opportunity, and they get that and get a goal. It's been a hard second half for Denmark, trying to create chances, but hard night for Denmark. Bad result, good result from Finland, but hard start from Denmark. So it's going to be a tough group stage for Denmark now. They have to win the next couple of games, or at least get 1 win and 1 draw. So, but we hope for the best in Denmark and cross our fingers.
So there you have it, folks. Thank you for your feedback, Jesper, because it's a very that game is layered, and you can see even on his face, James. You could tell he's a bit upset about it, and obviously, naturally, he would, because we are. So we'll definitely have more contributions from Jesper, and we'll definitely, our hearts go out to him and the teammates and people from Denmark. I have friends there. I even have my Denmark jersey because I have a lot of attachment to that country. So moving along, we're going to talk about the next game. Belgium got a 3-0 victory over Russia with goals from Lukaku in the 10th minute, Meunier in the 34th, and Lukaku once again in the 88th minute, sealing a 3-0 victory for Belgium. And, just a touching moment before we move forward, James. When Lukaku scored that last goal, he went up to the camera and shouted, I love you, Chris, which I think was an amazing gesture for the Inter Milan teammates. And it just shows you how that the recurring theme in this episode today about how this goes beyond football. These guys are friends. And, these guys were very happy that Christian seemed to be stabilized and his well wishes. So I thought that was very classy from Lukaku. But let's head over to the game. So what do you think about this game? We all knew that this, Russia is a decent team, but Belgium, a lot of people, Belgium are kind of the great pretenders. They have this golden generation that some people are saying on the way out. Roberto Martinez has this great squad. Wilmots, was fired for not being able to handle this team. So what do you think about his result today, James? Is this a statement for the rest of the tournament?
this is a statement saying we're coming for you, Portugal, you know, because obviously they're the holders. But I thought Lukaku was absolutely exceptional. I mean, the way he creates space and he pops up in areas for such a big guy. I mean, he's like pulling a rabbit out of a hat. I don't know how he does it. I mean, if you see the first goal, the way he popped up between the two defenders, he's able to turn around on the turn and score the goal was absolutely sensational. And then the last one as well. He's like an assassin at the moment. I think he's really firing on all cylinders for Belgium. And I think as a team, they look very dangerous. But you can't take away, I mean, Russia had some good chances too. I thought they went forward, but they just seem to lack something in this Russian team. I mean, in the past, they always looked as if they could, you know, cause problems, but they just looked, I don't know if it was the occasion, but they just, But the Belgian team, as I say, this 3-4-3 that they play from Martinez, it seemed to really suit them. Lukaku leading the line, Mertens and Carrasco, you know, up there with them. They create so much space to allow him to look like he's free. So, and I thought Hazard was pretty good as well. Tillmans, and even at the back, they look pretty solid as well. So really for them, it was a complete performance. They probably could have got a few more. So it's really, they're signalling their intentions to go on and win this tournament. And it will be very interesting from here.
Yes, and you know, the stats for this game, you know, Belgium with 66% possession, 33% for Russia. I expected a lot more from Russia, to be honest. But, you know, Belgium is a powerful team. And Lukaku, you know, let's talk about Lukaku. First, we spoke about the classy response, you know, to Eriksen, his teammate, but also what a player he has been transformed into. I mean, this is a guy Manchester United were basically mocking when he left. They said he was overweight. You know, even I was not convinced when Inter signed him, but Conte always wanted him, who's now gone. And he has transformed and be said into a very mobile, strong, fast player. My original criticisms were probably yours of him. You know, and I saw glimpses in the 2018 World Cup. You know, he really thrives on the counter-attack. You know, that reference point where you get that ball to him, he holds the ball up. And initially, I thought that's all he was. You know, this big man who can lay the ball off and then finish. But he can dribble. He has a decent passing range. And, you know, his finishing ability is very dynamic because, you know, that's one of the areas I was also critical of him. And, you know, he's turning out to be a crucial player, and his goal scoring record, James, is quite amazing. And, you know, the formation, you know, they played, you know, the 3-4-3, which can't switch to 5 at the back. I know Roberto Martinez, a lot of people was not happy with his style of play, you know, back in 2018. They played a sort of counter-attacking style of football. I think they're more comfortable with the system. You know, guys like Carrasco, you know, Hazard, you know, hasn't had a great time at Real Madrid, looked pretty okay. But I think, James, you know, before we move along, have people underestimated Belgium in this tournament?
Yes, I think they've underestimated the team. They've underestimated Lukaku. I mean, for a long time, I think it just shows you the key to being in the right team, a team that gives you confidence, that appreciates you. Having the right formation, I think now, I mean, as I say before, when he left England, he didn't look all of that. Let's be honest. Now he looks so mobile. He's obviously worked on some of his fitness, but he gets in the channels. He's able to hold up the ball. He's able to hold up the ball in the central areas, wide areas, and his shooting is just, as I say, is fantastic at the moment. So he's really a changed character, but I don't think too much changed. I think it was always there. It just took the right coach, the right confidence from him, and the right appreciation to get out of him. And as I say, he will, I mean, as long as he keeps himself fit for the tournament, I mean, this Belgian team could go all the way. And then if you look all the way at the back, I mean, Courtois, I've always been a little critical of him, but again, he looked pretty solid again today. And so that right through the team, they really have quality. And I think that's something that the other teams will have to be careful of.
So, folks, before we move along, we have a Belgian coach who's currently the national coach of Gambia, who's doing really great, Tom Sainfiet, and he gave us some comments before the match about his thoughts about Belgium. So let's hear it, folks.
Hi guys, really looking forward to the European Championships, Euros 2021. There are a few favorites in my mind. Naturally, as Belgian, I have to support Belgium, and I hope we reach 4. I don't think our team is as good as it was in the World Cup 2018. That was our opportunity to win a trophy. But let's hope they can reach 4. Other countries to look at is for sure world champion France. they will have a big chance to get also the European title. But don't forget countries like Portugal, Croatia, and even Switzerland. I think these 5 countries will reach for probably a semi-final, and one of them will become champion of Europe. Looking forward to it, and hope you enjoyed there in creating that.
So there you have it, folks. Tom, contributing to us. We had a nice interview with him with his success with his national team. We'll put a link to that in the description below. So James, before we move along, I'll put a little bit of trivia out there for the Trinidad and Tobago fans. There is a connection between Roberto Martinez and Trinidad and Tobago with a Trinidad and Tobago person. So that's a little clue I gave you guys. So I know we live in a world of Google and people can find this, but those who, you can comment in the comment section below. I know James knows, I know. And if you comment in the comment section below, you can qualify, folks, for a chance to win a copy of FIFA 21 from us. What do you think about that, James?
I think that's wonderful. And one lucky supporter will get that chance.
Yes. And listen, you don't have to be from Trinidad and Tobago. You can be from anywhere on the planet. That's what we have Amazon for, folks. So, moving along, James, tomorrow it's more games, but, we're going to speak about one very quickly before we move along, because right now, folks, there's a lot of football going on. So tomorrow, England plays Croatia. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, first of all, it's a big game, but also Luka Modric accused, I saw he snapped back before we even started the show by saying that, there's a bit of arrogance being displayed by some of the English. So, this is a game where, Croatia is a very strong team. England is coming in, as always, depending on who you ask, as favorites, with their strong team. I think they have a very young team, a very different England from what we're used to. I know Southgate likes the 3 at the back. So, we won't get into too much tactics. We'll have our post-match reaction. But what do you think about this upcoming game and, Luka Modric's remarks before the game?
Well, I think we know that obviously these remarks always sell the game. It's kind of like boxing in a sense. The boxers talk trash about each other, they go and do the fight, and then afterwards they're all cozy, and it's kind of the same in a sense. Football, the players will say what they want to say, they'll do the talking on the field, and then afterwards they'll shake hands and switch shirts. So I think it's just to promote the game. At the end of the day, what Modric said, England have had trouble year after year in the sense that they always promise so much and they don't necessarily deliver. I know Terry Fennick going to hate me for saying that, but you're right. This is such a young, vibrant England team that, I hate the fact that they're in the same group as us, obviously Scotland, but there's so much talent. It's oozing out of that team. I can't wait to see Jack Grealish. Foden, Mason Mount. Even defensively, they're so strong. They've got, to me, probably the weakest area when I see is probably their goalkeepers, because they have so much talent all the way through. And that's I'm not being nasty to the goalkeeper. I just mean that, they've got players, £50 million players all throughout the team, So it's an exciting team. Will they live up to the hype? Well, we will see. But as we know in the past, they tend to become the bridesmaid of most competitions. They just about get there, but they don't. So we'll see what happens, but it makes an exciting game. But Croatia are no pushovers either. They're an excellent team. And as I say, it's going to be a difficult group because they have to come up against us, they have to come up against Croatia, and obviously Czech Republic are pretty strong as well.
Yes, I know James feels very strongly about this group. That's why I brought it up. And, I'll just take a little quote before we end things off. Modric said the arrogance is not so much related to the players, but the people around them, some of the journalists and the commentators. I haven't really been following their media lately, but we only want to deal with football. So he's basically taken some shots at the arrogance of the media, which I agree with. We've spoken about this before. The headline in one of the on Mail Online or whatever is England are arrogant. That's basically what it is. Luka Modric claims media and commentators are too confident about the Three Lions 2020 chances. But he does admit that, England are one of the favorites as well. So, he took his shots, but also acknowledged that they are good. So, I guess he balanced it off pretty well. We all spoke about favorites. Sandro made a very strong point in our video. You can check that out when we did our response to the Italy game yesterday about being favorites. And England has been guilty of that as far as I know. So, one last thing, we'll spend about maybe a minute on this. The Copa America begins as well. So we'll be talking about the Euros and the Copa America as well. We have lots of football, James. So, folks, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share, answer our question about the connection between Trinidad and Tobago and Roberto Martinez in the comment section below. James, we'd like to say a special thanks to Tom and also, you know, all the contributors that we'll be having on the show. Especially today, we had Jesper Christiansen, who I think, kudos to him. He showed a lot of courage to do the show, because I understand that he was affected by what happened today with Eriksens. So, you know, I'd really like to say a special thanks to you. And, you know, folks, we have lots of football to talk about, and hopefully some positive things. We'll keep you all updated on Christian Eriksen. And James,
there's one other guy we have to obviously shout out to. I mean, obviously, Trinidad and Tobago new national women's coach, James Thomas. I had lots of conversations with him today. He was supposed to come on tonight with us, but it didn't end up. But he will come on, obviously, and for the next Welsh game. So we'll get to know a little bit about him. And that's probably good for the Trinidad public as well to get to know all about him. You know?
Yes.
So that's an interesting one.
Yes. So we know we have a wide array of people all around the planet, folks. This is not just Trinidad and Tobago. This is global, you know, from Belgium to Wales to Scotland to Malaysia, everybody. So, you know, we're taking it to the next level, folks. So, James, it's been a pleasure, and we'll definitely resume the football. We have the Euros and the Copa America. So we'll give our reactions tomorrow. Now, daily updates, because we have football for basically a month. Everyone is at home. So stay tuned. We'll have all these episodes live on Facebook and YouTube every day as much as possible, summarizing all the events. Feel free to join in, and we'll also have some extra segments as well. And, you know, as far as things comes up, you all can send videos to our Instagram as well, and let us know your thoughts when we do our Instagram lives. And feel free to send questions and comments, not just in the YouTube comment section, but also to our email, extratimetvtt@gmail.com. And to end things off, if you'd like to support kids in Trinidad and Tobago that have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, who have been devastated financially by this, you could purchase some merchandise in our link in the description below, where each purchase, a percentage goes towards these kids. So, you know, when you wear this, it represents those children. And, you know, it's not just a jersey, folks. So you'll be helping some kids out. So, James, it's been a pleasure. And, folks, thank you for joining us.
Just a reminder, everyone, for more episodes with Shaka Hislop, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more updates, interviews, and content.